Thank you so much for being here. I am so happy to be here with you guys, and I'm sending you all my love. I sort of wanted to continue a little bit from the story from where I left off last video. I kind of talked a little bit about sort of how I got to pursue writing my own music, and thought I'd talk a little bit about what sort of happened after that, after kind of changing the courses of your path, you know, of your dreams, and kind of a little bit of the aftershocks that kind of happened to me, at least. And so once I decided to pursue writing my own music and to create and work in my studio, there are a lot of different feelings that kind of came up, because I had known, number one, that I had really let down a lot of people, so I was kind of really fighting that side a long time. And I can remember it because I kind of was very much on rocky ground. I didn't really know exactly what I was doing, you know, writing music. I didn't know what it was that I was kind of looking for musically. I was just kind of trying a lot of different things, and I can remember it being a real struggle to sort of talk about it with other people, and to talk about it with family, friends, anybody, even strangers, to sort of explain, you know, that I'm sort of kind of taking control of this next part of my life. And I remember sort of not knowing how to explain it, but then when I'd sort of talk about it, all I could sort of see was just almost like this, I could almost see like a hologram of myself, but like filled with sort of shame and guilt, and kind of just sort of a deep, you know, kind of feeling of failure, because I had had a lot of you know, disappointing a lot of people. And so I kind of carried that with me, in sort of the shadow that sort of followed me around. And another thing I remember when I was talking to others about what I was doing was that I felt like I didn't have any proof of I didn't have anything to show for. And before, when I was doing classical guitar music, I could have concrete evidence, you know, that I was playing and that I had, you know, performances to go to. So kind of this new point, it was all kind of in my imagination, all the things that I wanted to create. And so it was definitely, that kind of added on to that sort of feeling of, you know, not just feeling just like a failure, you know, because there was nothing to sort of kind of surround and sort of comfort what it was that I was doing. And so kind of one of the things that I sort of did was, and I think we do sort of, is to kind of create these little protective shells around us. And so I had kind of basically just locked myself in the studio for a really long time, and just kind of just explored there. And it kind of just became my own world and my own imaginary world, and it was safe there. It felt good there, and I could live there and feel and breathe there, you know, okay. And but kind of outside of myself, there was a lot of things that were really hard. I couldn't share my music with anybody. That was another thing. Sharing was really, really hard. Talking about it with anybody else. When I would share it, it was kind of the same sort of thing, where all I would hear was what was wrong with it. And even if somebody didn't say there was something wrong, or didn't, you know, comment on it, I would still feel bad, because I would kind of imagine that they still didn't like it. And so it was kind of like a no-win situation, because kind of anything that sort of surrounded that, any reaction, any expectation, it was always, I kind of always sort of unfortunately saw the bad side and sort of carried that side. And it was really ultimately because I wasn't really, I was really shaken up inside, and I was really shaken up by letting my teachers down. And it's kind of crazy now because I realized when I was kind of thinking about all this that I used to have dreams and nightmares. I would wake up just about my teachers and anybody in the past, and just like letting them down, and or in some way, and it would come up in my dreams like every week. And I realized just now that I can't remember the last time that happened, and it's really pretty cool because for a while there, for many years, that was kind of a constant. And so if that they will go away if you get those nightmares. And I'm understanding that they will fade away. Another sort of aftershock that happened for me when I sort of took things into my own hands was I was completely cut off from applause. And I didn't realize how much, hearing the applause, seeing the applause, being surrounded by it, giving applause, I didn't realize how much that truly affected me and how much I needed it. And I kind of slowly had to realize that, when you take, this sort of, dream into your own hands, that, that's no longer something that you can really count on. It's wonderful if it happens, but it's no longer, you kind of have to figure out how to live life without it if it doesn't happen. And so that was a real, really, I think, tremendous sort of thing that I had to readjust myself to, is kind of remember sort of feeling like I had to reprogram my brain to suddenly fill that void with something else. And now, kind of thinking about it, I realize that, it's really about being your own hero, and it's about believing in yourself and filling that with confidence and with excitement and hope. So that was a really, really incredible lesson that I learned through this, through letting people down and through the shifts that happened. I can remember another thing where because my identity was very much sort of previous, sort of attached to sort of the classical world and guitar, and when I then went to heavy metal, sort of heavy metal guitar, and then when I sort of shifted gears altogether, then I was kind of not sure where I was, and I was finding it, I was searching for it. And I think you're always kind of searching for it because it can change and you can find new things. And I remember feeling at the time really invisible, while inside feeling like I was at my truest self. And it was felt like such a dichotomy to me because I didn't understand how, something that felt so right, how it could sort of get lost. So kind of with that dichotomy, there was also another one that I was sort of facing where, how come nobody likes my music when I really like it and it feels good? And so there were a lot of kind of those floating feelings sort of just happening all the time. And it really was because I really wasn't, sure about how I felt inside, and I was struggling with a dream, but having it flicker, in terms of my belief in it, and in me, and but the thing that is so incredible now, that I can understand with it, and kind of why I wanted to share it, and again, hopefully not being too sad for you guys, was that I ultimately learned that, you know, you are the one that matters in this, and that you are the only one that has to like what you're doing. You know, you are the only one that has to enjoy the music, if that's all, you know, and because, you know, things will happen around you, but as long as you love what you're doing, as long as you believe in it and it feels right and it feels good, that's truly all that matters, you know. The applause and the reception and is so wonderful to have, but it can easily be taken away from you. But the one thing that can't be taken away is your heart, and every time, you know, you hear a no, or you hear, you know, where you feel bad about it, or you see that hologram of yourself, and you don't feel good about it, every time that happens, it's going to build up beautiful layers inside of you that will instill you with a belief, a tougher belief every time. So I hope you guys feel that, you know, that goodness in you for what you're doing, for chasing your dreams, and know that if it feels like nobody gets what you're doing or likes what you're doing, as long as you like what you're doing inside, that's the beauty of it. And trust that gut inside of yourself and your heart, and you'll find that beautiful things will happen. You know, you won't know what they will be, but they will happen in time. And in the meantime, you'll get to enjoy what you're doing along the way.
I feel so high, but I'm looking at